Right, let's have a look at the left-hand side pane to start with. First of all, we have all of our data, and it's no longer in strict column order. It's now separated out into dimensions and measures. Now, if you're used to a cube type package, for instance SQL Server Analytical Services, SSAS, then dimensions and measures do exactly the same thing there. But if you're not familiar with them, then measures add up things. Dimensions describe what those things are. So for instance, if we have a table costing £4, then table would be a dimension, the £4 would be a measure. Now, it may be that something has gone in the wrong place. For instance, it may be that you want, try and find an example, row ID to be a measure. Well, if that's the case, just drag it into the measures, and you can see it's now gone from the dimensions, but it's there as a measure. There are other ways. You can go to the end of this circle. Now this circle is called a pill, P-I-L-L. So it looks like a really long pill. And at the end of pills we've got drop down, or in this case a drop up box. And you can see convert to dimension. You've also got another convert to discrete, but we'll just ignore that for the moment. So convert to dimension just puts it right back up there. Also notice what else you've got here. You can change the data type, exactly as we were seeing before. And you can change the geographic role, if any. So if I go to city, go to geographic role, you can see city has the geographic role of city. And what that actually means is that the computer works out where this country, this city, this postcode is, and can actually plot it on a map. And you can see you can have symbol maps or filled maps, and look what it's requiring. It's requiring, if I go over here, it's requiring one geometric, and there's a symbol for geometric, dimension in blue, 0 in more other dimensions, and 0 to 2 measures. So this show me box is quite useful to give you ideas for the various types of graphs and charts and tables you can do. And it tells you what you need. And you will notice, like for instance this one date. The word date has the calendar symbol, the same calendar symbol that we see over here. So if I move this show me to one side, so let's actually show ourselves. What can be the first thing we want to do? Well, let's have a look at our measures. Generally we want to count something. Do we want to count the discount, the profit, the quantity, the sales? Notice that it is auto-generated latitude and longitude based on all of the geographical information that we've got. And it's also put in a number of records item. So a generated field that counts the number of records. So let's use this. Let's just find out how many records we got. You remember it was around just under 10,000. So I'm going to drag it from here all the way to this area. And there we have the answer, 9,994. That answer, though accurate, is a bit disappointing. You're expecting something a bit more graphical. Well, let's have a look over here to the marks section. Now this marks section tells you basically everything that can be plotted. So if you know pivot tables, if I just get a pivot table up, so if you're used to pivot tables, then you'll easily recognize where columns and rows fit into this. Filters and pages pages, it will see in a little while. Filters fairly obviously reduces the amount of information you see. Marks is the equivalent to values. So that is a hugely important section. So currently we've got one value, a number of records 9,994. Now if you have a look here, this ABC automatic, that is how it is plotted. The computer has done an automatic type of plot. But we can change that. Just by clicking on that, we can change that to a bar chart. So let's click on that. And we have a bar, or a line chart, or an area chart. We can change what sort of chart we want. A pie chart, a very easy pie chart. The reason why it's completely filled in is because we've only got the one value. Going back to our pivot table here, it's like we've put raw ID in here and we just asked it to count. That's the only thing we've got. So what else can we do with it? Well, we either add something here or something here. So we add a column or row. So let's add something. Let's add the country. So I'm going to drag the country up into the column section. And now you can see that this is divided up into all of the various countries, of which there are only one. So let's add the state to it. And now we're getting somewhere. We can see that this 9,994 figure is now divided up into all of the states. So now if we change this marks to say a bar, or a line, or an area, it's still not being really great, is it? Probably need to rethink about that. So this is when we made the acquaintance again of this Show Me tab. Now you can see that this Show Me tab has got 3 across and 8 down, so it's 24 items. And you will notice now some of them are greyed out like this one, and some of them aren't. So the ones which aren't are doable. So let's click on this one, side by side bars. Let's see what we get. You can see try at least one or more dimensions. You can see dimensions is in blue and country and state are in blue up here. And one or more measures. Measures is in green. You notice that we have number of records in green as well. So let's click this. Requires at least 3 fields. We've got 3 fields. This is more what we want. Much better. So now we have the various states running across and a graphical interpretation of how many records there are per state. Much better. So let's see what else. A pie chart. Not sure how useful this is going to be, but let's just expand and expand. Not ridiculously useful. You can see all of the states down here, but in its current position, not really useful. So you've got tree maps, so you can see the various orders by state, with each state having the size related to the number of records. We've got circle views, again, the equivalent of these bars, but all stacked up on it to each other. And you can highlight one and see which one it is, or you can go side by side. So that looks very similar to that one. And we've also got packed bubbles, which gives a sort of thought tree like intensity to stuff. But again, how useful is this really? So this shows at a glance some of the different types of chart, like this, which is a highlight chart. I would have called it a heat map, but they call this a heat map. that you can use to show your data. Now, it just took a few minutes for me just to drag in the number of records and the two pills, country and state, and then go to show me and click a particular graph. And that's as easy as it can get. Now there's a lot more into Tableau and we're going to go into it, but you can see just from a few clicks, so if I just get rid of this all, change this back to automatic, get rid of everything, there we go. Once you are used to it, you can just go drag, 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 select. So that was 4 sets of clicks to create your chart. How easy can it get? So we'll go into a lot more detail at all the various options, but that's a quick overview of what you can do.